You're listening to Living Beyond with Hope. Hey, that's me.
Welcome to the podcast. This podcast is meant to help you realize you're more than a label, and you too can create a life you love despite it. Each week, we bring you tips and inspiring messages to help you take the positive steps in your health that will allow you to live beyond. Now sit back, relax, meal prep, or take a walk as you dig into today's topic with your host, a gal living her life to the fullest with type 1 diabetes, Hope Mangiafico.
Today we're going to talk about, is a low-fat diet right for you? So first thing I want to tell you is that low-fat was kind of practice. It was best practice, is what people did, and it had like this bad stigma to it basically. And now things are changing. And I don't know how much research you've done on your own, or maybe you haven't, and I'm your resource, and that's awesome. I love it. But what you have to realize now is fat is our friend. I'm going to go ahead and just bust a few myths. When you get older, it's very like, no, you can't have fat. And I have to tell you some of the benefits of consuming fat. This is going to be brief, it's going to be short, it's going to be beneficial for you, and I pray from the bottom of my heart that this might tweak a little thought process in your head and transform your health. So, fat. Fat will allow you to get more energy. If you're tired all the time, if you start consuming fat on a regular basis, you will have more energy than you've ever had. If you're in your 50s and you're like, I wish I felt like when I was in my 20s, I gotcha. You can consume some avocados and some healthy oils and nuts and seeds and nut butters, and the list goes on really. Hamburgers and eggs and bacon, and you will have so much energy. I have more energy than I've ever had in my life. And yeah, I'm going to say, like, clearly I'm not super old, but the amount of energy that this has allowed me to have has been incredible. And the reason that is because fat is dense. It has a lot of energy in it, so you don't need a ton of it like you do carbohydrates, which we ain't gonna go there, but you don't need a lot of it to feel energized. And because of that, you eat less. So if you've been on a weight loss journey, you've been trying to lose weight for a while, or maybe you're just unhappy with being in your own skin, unhappy. I mean, I've been there, I've done that, I totally understand what that feels like, but this will allow you to not feel that way. For me, I like to share my story because we're all humans, and I feel like perhaps you could relate to me. For me, I had always kind of struggled. Like, it was like things just weren't working for me no matter what I did. I'm extremely active, and exercise is a whole other thing, but for me, I exercise all the time, but I still wasn't feeling confident. And now that I started consuming fats, it naturally helps shed some of the fat mass and keep the lean mass, which is what's really cool. You keep all your lean mass, so you start toning up, and you eat less because, again, the fuel from fat keeps you energized. It's pretty rad. And then if your goal in life is to have better blood sugars, so whether you have diabetes or not, blood sugar management is so important. The increase in type 2 diabetes is skyrocketing. And for people with type 1, the complexities and the hardships that come, it's not easy. And I'll be the first to admit that. My journey has become much easier because I started eating fat, but prior to that, it wasn't an easy journey. But we're talking about fat over here and what the benefits are of fat and why you should start adding fat to your diet. For people with diabetes, obviously blood sugar management is key, and fat stabilizes blood sugar, so it's awesome and it works well. But for people who do not have diabetes, you are still at risk of having insulin resistance, of not feeling well, and of potentially having a diagnosis of type 2 diabetes. And diabetes is on the rise, type 2 specifically, and having fat will help you believe it or not, will not actually aid in obesity, but it will actually help you get healthier, stabilize your blood sugars, and again, more energized and weight loss, and therefore all around things are great. With that being said, a lot of people don't realize that when you have a combination, so doctors say a lot that you shouldn't have fat if you have high cholesterol, high triglycerides, high blood pressure, heart issues. I mean, the list goes on. They're concerned about it messing up your health. And so, therefore, you might be like, Hope, I'm ignoring you. I know that low-fat diet is good for me. But the thing that is not revealed, and I reveal this in all of my programs, which I will jump to that in just a second, what I reveal in all my programs is that fat isn't the issue. It's how we consume fat. And we have people all over the world that tune into this. And I know that all of our diets are vastly different. I know America, we like our carbohydrates, the bad carbs. And the reason we have health issues is because we mix carbs with fat. And those together aren't good. If you have just healthy carbs, it's okay if you have some complex carbs that help stabilize blood sugars. But we like the pizza and the burgers with the fries. Like those types of things are why we have health issues. So if you start to reconsider what you're eating and say, okay, I will consider having a higher fat diet and start cutting out my carbohydrates, keeping the protein the same, because protein is neither here or there. You don't want to overdose, but you definitely need enough to sustain and be healthy. So if you start thinking about that, you will see all around better results with your health, including the heart health, which in the past there's been so many things talked about for eggs and all that fun stuff. With all of that being said, if you are able to have this shift in mindset and think, okay, I get it, then the best thing of all is you have a long life ahead of you. I am proof that there is a possibility to thrive with whatever health condition you have, specifically for me with diabetes, to do things that you never thought were possible, to live longer than you ever dreamt you could live. Then that's your future for you. That's potential for you. And that is amazing. So that's kind of what I wanted to share today, is kind of have a shift in mindset. That's my challenge to you today, is to not consider a low-fat diet anymore. Calories aren't the issue. It's the type of food we're consuming. Sometimes that mind shift is very challenging to do yourself, but I want to see you thrive. You better take me on this little challenge I have for you, and to start thinking about how you could slowly start making some small transformations and being willing to add a little bit of fat to your diet. I know that this can bring you success, and I could not wait to see you thrive in this area.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. It means the world to me to be able to serve you and help you live beyond. If you found today's episode helpful or beneficial or share-worthy, I would love a review in iTunes. A review in iTunes allows me to know what was helpful and allows us together to continue to change lives and help other people live beyond their diagnosis or label. And if you did find this share-worthy or helpful, be sure to subscribe to this podcast. If you're on an Apple device, you can go to the podcast app or the iTunes store and type in Living Beyond with Hope, and there you can subscribe or listen to other episodes. When you subscribe, this allows you to know when there's a new podcast release. If you're on an Android device, no worries, I got you. All you have to do is download the Stitcher app and search for Living Beyond with Hope there and subscribe there. You can also go to www.livingbeyondwithhope.com if you would like to listen to the episode again, if you would like to see the show notes and any links that were mentioned in this episode. Today's episode was also brought to you by my Living Beyond the Label audiobook. If you enjoyed this and you like hanging out with me in your ear, then you would love to get your hands on this audiobook. It helps us together strategize your best and most balanced life. If you want to learn more about it and to get your hands on the audio and the worksheets that go with it, you can go to www.mybalanceplan.com. The link is also in the show notes, and there you'll be able to start strategizing your best life. Have an amazing rest of your day, and remember to keep living beyond.